There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Hey, we're here to talk about some Oak Island.
Of course we are.
We are here to talk about Season 8, Episode 9, Rock, Paper, Serpent.
Yes, correct. Yeah. One serpent, not serpents.
That's right. So thanks for joining us today. We've got a fun episode to get recapped here.
Of course.
But before we do that, I would like to play a voicemail for everybody. We usually do this at the end of the episode, but this is a pretty special one.
It is a pretty special one. And let's see here. I was just checking audio and it looks like everything is good to go on the live.
Okay.
As far as that goes, people are coming on in. So, yeah, we are always encouraging you guys to leave voicemails because we like them. We like to be able to share them on the show, and you've sent in some really great ones. And I think you should continue to do such a thing because we like your input.
Yeah.
And some really cool people seem to be leaving voicemails nowadays.
Well, we haven't got many lately, but we got at least one good one big one. They're all good. They're all good.
Okay, this one knocked us off our feet.
This one's from like the big Kahuna.
Kahuna?
Yeah. You ready to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready to hear it, chat room? Everybody that is listening live and on the podcast, here's a little treat for you. This is fun. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I love your recording, your answering recording. It's pretty cool. Hey, this is Marty Lagina. Got your number from a friend of yours, and I just wanted to tell you, I saw the trading cards. I think they're cool. I think they're just really fun. So I have no agenda other than to just tell you that. So there you are. Have fun. Keep rooting for us. Thanks. Bye.
Marty Lagina.
Oh my gosh.
Called us.
We're sitting at the dinner table and we're like, oh, we have a missed call and a voicemail. And I could have never expected that.
Well, okay, so our voicemail gets like put into text form and goes into our email. And I was looking at the email and it says, hey, this is Marty Lee. I'm like, who's trying to pull a trick on us?
I was sure this was
who's trying to pull a trick on us? What is going on here? But no, it's like the legit guy. Like the
That's
big
a
Kahuna.
Distinctive voice.
Yeah. I mean, and what he was talking about, if you don't know, and sorry to podcast only listeners, you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm holding up some amazing, whoops, there's one upside down, Oak Island trading cards that Deidre and I created. Most of these about a year ago.
Yeah.
And this is what he's talking about. He thinks these are amazing. And you know what? Marty Lagina, I agree with you.
It blew us away.
Yeah.
I literally freaked out for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, so here's an Alex Lagina. Here's a Steve Guptill. I mean, I know this isn't great for podcast only, but when Marty gives us a stamp of approval and he sees this made of himself and he enjoys that and he likes that, I mean, that's pretty good.
When Marty Lagina calls, you listen.
Yeah.
And listen. And listen.
Yeah,
we probably say, is someone playing a prank on? Nope.
I think we listened to that call about 15 times that night when we received it. We received it last Friday. And so anyway, we just thought it was super cool, super fun. And
2021, that's a way to kick it off.
That is a good way to kick it off. So
it makes me feel inspired.
Should we listen to it one more time? It's just that good. Let's listen one more time.
Okay.
In case someone just popped in and they missed it. All right, here's the voicemail one more time.
Okay, I love your recording, your answering recording. It's pretty cool. Hey, this is Marty Lagina. Got your number from a friend of yours, and I just wanted to tell you, I saw the trading cards. I think they're cool. I think they're just really fun. So I have no agenda other than to just tell you that. So there you are. Have fun. Keep rooting for us. Thanks. Bye.
Holy smokes.
We'll always root for you, Marty.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty cool. That kind of put us on cloud 9.
Major freak out mode for me.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So thanks, Marty Lagina, for calling. I don't know if he listens to the podcast regularly. I know a lot of people from the cast do.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't know, they're not working together. And I was going to say, if you guys see Marty in passing, tell him say thanks. But
yeah,
they're not going to see him in passing right now.
No, because there's like this border between
there is
some of us here, between Canada and such. Canada got to see the episode last night.
They did.
Anywho,
so
which apparently
looks
is
like
our
the chat,
go-to filler room right now.
The chat's going wild.
Mm-hmm.
They're all loving it. Everybody loves good old any kind of Lagina, right?
Mm-hmm.
So thanks again, Marty. All right, you want to talk about
the episode?
The episode.
Yeah, I think we should.
All right. So I thought it was a fun one. Lots of information.
Very much so.
Lots of theories thrown out there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump in and try to break some of them down.
Okay, so we were in a few different places this episode. We were in the swamp. We were in the money pit.
Mm-hmm.
In the swamp. In the war room.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I mean, we talked about the Serpent Mound, which was on a different lot, but they didn't go there.
They didn't go to the lot, no.
Yeah.
But we talked about it a lot.
But we did talk about
We talked about lot 15 a lot in this episode.
We did. It's a lot.
I mean, okay, not us. We're going to be talking about lot 15 a lot. All right, so before we started, you said, "Hey, let's talk about what happened in the money pit first."
Yeah.
So let's do it. What happened in the money pit?
Okay, let's see here. As I'm scrolling through my notes that are in digital form.
Ooh, like
time,
me.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
All right, so we had Marty joining the table with Terry and Charles, right? They're making some progress there on borehole G5.5.
Yeah, they're supervising basically the grid that they had laid out for the season.
Yep, choice Sonic drilling out there doing their thing, drilling some holes, getting deep down into the earth, trying to find a vault, trying to find something. And what are they finding?
Not a whole lot. And even as Marty says, he asks them, how many wells, not drills, how many wells have you drilled so far? And Terry says they're in the 9th in their planned grid pattern. But we also know that they also drilled holes about 50 meters northwest of the area where Aaron had proposed they do some drills. So
borehole EJZ-1.
Yes, but I don't think that's included in the 9 is what he was trying to say. And they're all hoping to find collapses of a vault, something that indicates this giant collapse. And of course, we get a Clotworthy recap.
Of course.
About their grid pattern.
That's what he does.
Yes, right? And they're 6-inch boreholes down to depths below 200 feet. So we know they're going deeper.
6 inches, 200 feet deep is a far cry from the 200 feet wide, 230 feet deep that Steve Guptill wants.
I'm on the Steve Guptill plan. I like that whole
Choice
idea.
Sonic Drilling, we appreciate the work you guys been doing, but it's time to move. Okay, no, let's keep going. I was gonna say it's time to move out, time to move in the big dig.
You think they could do like a 200 foot
that would take forever with their equipment.
Sonic drill. Can you imagine the sausage coming out of that thing?
It would be it would be impossible. Okay?
It would be. Right. It's still a hilarious visual.
Yeah, Terry does explain the systematic pattern that they're doing to Marty and where they have and haven't drilled yet, and wants to find silver or gold broken up, or gold or broken up pieces of chests or something. I'm thinking to myself, oh no, please don't be broken pieces of chests. I want it all intact, but probably
that's wishful thinking. We're looking for a collapse first off. I kind of put it down as this is Terry's ideal sausage is, just undisturbed material, then some broken up material, and then we just throw on a little bit of a sprinkle of gold, a sprinkle of silver, bada bing, bada boom. Here's the collapse treasure.
I don't know if that's Terry's ideal. I think that's everybody's ideal.
Okay, well, Terry's the one that was saying that's his ideal.
That's true. Shoot. All right, so at that point, Marty says, "All right, guys, get back to work."
Naturally,
keep it going. But he did give Terry an elbow bump.
Oh yeah, he's
give me one.
He was really excited to give the elbow bump too.
Yeah. All right, so then they do some swamp stuff, but then they do come back to the money pit. Marty goes for another progress report, finding out what's happening in G5.5. This is when they were at the depth of 230 feet.
Pretty deep.
But Terry says it's just another hole.
Yeah, just
another hole, which is kind of depressing.
It is, but it isn't. It like Marty says, we knew this was going to be a systematic process. And how often have you and I preached that we need to take that type of approach in things? That's how you know you're not going to miss something and you're going to fully be able to get the data. So we have learned something from these 9 holes. We've learned that there's nothing at that location. Awesome. That's good information, especially when you're going down that low. I mean, this is 230 feet. That's a Steve deep.
That's his target depth.
Yep. Steve's a fan of the 230 depth.
Yeah, he's just like 6 inches wide isn't enough. We need 200 feet wide. I'd take 300 foot by 300 foot. Now I'm getting real crazy.
Yeah, now you're like, I'm just going to engulf the whole island.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like, literally what I really want is for them to do the big dig and make a tourist attraction out of it so I can go to the bottom of the money pit. That's my dream.
I know. You have kind of weird
Come on,
dreams.
people would pay $50, $100 to go down to the bottom of the money pit.
Yes.
In an elevator, of course. You know, you're not going to have to climb down a rickety old ladder.
I'd climb down. We'd do, like, some scaling of the rocks.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Okay.
It'd be a rock climbing adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Marty says that the drilling has gone very well, and they have been able to hit their target depths, which is good, because sometimes in the past they haven't been able to even hit those depths, you know? So, I mean, they're getting through. This is supposed to be a treasure hunt, he says, and he's always hoping that they'll bring up some indication of treasure. At any moment of this drill program could reveal something dramatic. It could, but not yet.
I mean, it's funny because when you drill wells, like he's saying, you want it to go smoothly, but these ones keep going smoothly, and it's like, hey, this is a treasure hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
especially when you're drilling underground. I don't know how many times I've said this, but if you're off by an inch, you're off by a mile. Like, if you're digging underground, it's the hardest thing to do, unless you're digging underground in the ocean, like Tony Sampson does. That's even harder.
Yeah.
But if you're on land, this is the hardest thing to do, is to, especially so deep. Like Deidre and I, we've dug for buried treasure that's only 3 feet deep and can't find it, even though we think we're in the right spot. We might not be. There's a possibility, but we think we're right there. We have the spot. Let's dig a hole. Can't find it, because if you can't see it and you miss it by this much, you essentially dug on the other side of the planet. You know, like that's you're off by an inch. You're off by 10,000 miles. Okay. Like, for real.
Yes.
It's just, I'm just trying to put across how difficult it is to dig underground.
No, I totally agree. Something I thought that was funny that comes up is, you know, they're like, we're looking for this great collapse. And Marty looks at Charles and he's like, Charles, where's this collapse? But it seemed like a very accusing tone. Like, Charles,
I know you know where it is.
Where
Charles.
is it? Come on, where did it go? I even wrote in my notes, is he blaming Charles? And his response, Charles, it's down there. You just haven't found it yet. And I'm just thinking, like, is he moving? You know?
He said, trust me, it's down there.
Yeah, I trust you, Charles. I know.
Yep. Marty asked Charles which hole he did, like, which hole is he expecting the near collapse to be near? Like, or where, right? Yeah. And he says that the ones near RF1, borehole RF1, Restall Family 1. Yeah. And Marty asks if they've drilled any of those yet. And Terry says that that's next on the list. H6.5 is next, and that's closer to the borehole RF1.
10th Wells, the charm. Maybe number 10 will be. I just keep thinking about, so when we had the special episode with Maddie Blake before the season aired, we had that nice long sausage laying out with all the wood and such in it, and Maddie was super excited, and everybody was, right? I want to know which sausage that is. I feel like maybe we're leading up to it.
Maybe it's H6.5.
Yes, that's what I'm crossing my fingers for.
Could be. All right, so they did have a little bit of a flashback to what they found in RF1 before from last season, and how Gary was noting the possible Roman numerals found on wood that was pulled out of borehole RF1. So pretty cool. Marty says that they've always known this is going to be systematic, like she said earlier. Carry on. Carry on.
Yeah. Okay.
Do they come back to the money pit anymore? Or is that the end of the money pit?
No, that was the end of said money pit.
All right. Well, hey, Terry, Charles, keep up the good work. Or Terry, keep up the good work. Charles,
stop moving.
Give us some hints, dude, because we know you know. We know you know. All right. So do you want to go to the swamp?
Sure.
Or
let's
to
do
the
swamp.
or to the are we going to finish with War Room stuff?
Yeah, we can finish with War Room stuff.
Well, War Room stuff at the end of the episode actually is not about the middle part War Room stuff, because we had
two War Rooms.
Yeah, we had the big thing with Doug,
mm-hmm.
and then the other part of the War Room, or when they went back to the War Room later on, it was just like
it was a data giving
yeah,
information, but they are
about
actually related. No, it was about the Serpent Mound.
Oh, it was about the Serpent Mound. You're
so
right.
We can smash those War Rooms
Let's
together.
Do it. All right. You're right, of course.
Deidre's always right. Why would you?
Why would I ever think anything other?
I don't know. That is the real conundrum here. That is the real mystery.
Yeah, I think these are. I'm looking through my notes right now, and I think these are the longest notes I've taken, maybe ever. Like the most notes, even more than like a 2-hour episode, because that Doug part, like mm-hmm. his little thing. Oh my gosh, that was like so much info.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, let's go to the swamp.
Swamp it is.
Beginning of the episode, we have Rick, Jack, and Ian Spooner,
mm-hmm.
the swamp doctor.
Yes.
Headed across the island over to the swamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ian says that he's never seen a feature like this under 12 inches of mud, and it's unique enough that it's a feature of significant purpose. He also says that the archaeologists really want to look at it, and when the archaeologists get excited, he gets excited.
Yeah,
that means I get excited. Yeah, and you get excited.
I think that's a good point, though. If the archaeologists are excited, he gets excited. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Clotworthy gives us the flashback, reminds us that it is a 20 by 70 foot. What are we calling it? A stone feature?
Yeah.
Like it kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they call it a feature. Sometimes they call it a structure sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think later on, they really say, you know what? This is no longer a feature. It's a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a feature at this point, but later on in this episode, it switches. It changes.
It crosses over officially.
It's an official structure later on. At this point, feature. All right.
Got it.
All right. So when they get to the swamp, Billy's there and Gary, and they're just like, hey, we've been here for hours working. Yeah. Where are you guys?
Come on, let's get to work.
Okay. Maybe they weren't like that. But
well, maybe they were.
They're ready. They're ready. Ian tells them the planned area that they're about to dig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've already got the swamp drained and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get cleaned off, get the area cleaned off, it'll begin telling them its secrets.
In theory. And Rick is just really excited to see how it's built. Spooner agrees, and you know, we're all kind of talking to Billy because you know, archaeology via a excavator scoop, and that we're going to go nice and slow.
Yep.
And points out that they kind of want to focus on like from this 15 feet out towards the shore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then I think Gary asks Billy at one point and say, "Hey, where are you gonna deposit the treasure?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Rick giggled.
Like, yeah, he's more because they're like, "Where are we gonna put the spoils pile, the backfill for Gary to go through?" And
Gary's just worried about the treasure.
Billy says he's gonna swing it out of the way as far as possible, and you know, don't want anyone getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then. Because Gary's so confident, he wants to know where the treasure pile goes.
Yep. And Gary says that he feels like this is going to be the motherlode of artifacts in this area.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something.
That is.
And he says, "This is the day." And Rick giggled again. So he's in a giggly mood.
He is. This is exciting.
Yeah, but like literally right after that, Rick says, "All right, they're doing too much talking and not enough work is getting done." And I in my notes I said, "Okay, Marty."
I was thinking the same thing. Okay, Marty.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Just calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he was calmed up.
Yep. So we get Clotworthy explaining that they're going to put in a cofferdam, and they've already got the necessary permits, and the swamp is drained, and Billy's right now beginning to move the dense muck and reveal what the stone feature is.
Uh-huh.
All right. And Rick says that Billy is putting the dirt away, is pulling the dirt away and looking for some sort of framework. There must be an artificial support or something, and hopefully Billy will be able to continue digging to see if it connects to the uplands area. So a lot of work going to be happening in that little spot.
Yep. So Billy gets scooping, and like you said, Rick, like, hey, we're looking for framework, and then Rick and Spooner are down there talking, and they point out it kind of, as they're getting down to it, looks like some kind of pathway, and it gradually inclines up
a little bit of a slopage.
Yeah. And at first I thought they meant that it did towards the shore, but they meant, we see later that they mean up towards like lot 15 and the pine tar kiln and that way.
And the Serpent Mound, right?
Which would make sense.
It's all coming together. All right. So Gary says, come on, Billy, bring me a bucket of treasure.
And he does. Billy's like, you want treasure? Watch this.
Now dig it. Yeah. So Gary is detecting the spoils. He finds a chunk of coal, and then he found some pottery, and he says, come to Papa.
Yeah, he's really excited about the pottery.
Yep. He identified it as blue glaze pottery. We've seen some of that before out of the money pit.
Yes.
What was that? Was that Borehole H8? Might have been. I don't remember.
That might have been. I think we've seen blue glaze pottery in a couple places. And later in the episode, after, I want to say, the commercial break, Gary points out that this is the type of stuff Laird gets really excited about, because this is the really old pottery. And what's it doing in the swamp? And
if Laird's excited, we're excited. It's hard to get Laird excited too.
Yeah, that's
saying you seen him?
Something.
When he's on the show, he's pretty like buttoned up and like, yeah.
Well, yeah, because he wants to do his research, and you're not just going to throw something.
I was just going to say, like, he's been on with us, and he's been a little more loosened up.
Yeah, he has. He's a blast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we like Laird. We like Laird a lot.
Yep.
Who doesn't like Laird, right?
I don't know. Team Trow.
Yeah. All right. So,
commercial break.
Yeah, there's a commercial. Then we come back to the swamp, and Gary can be heard saying that all roads lead to the swamp.
To and from.
I don't know. It kind of is on almost both sides of the island, so I guess all roads on the island would have to lead to the swamp. But,
that's a pretty good point.
Yeah, Ian, Dr. Spooner, said that he's surprised about how wide this is, and for Rick, it's all about how it was built. So Rick just wants the answers. You know, like, I think he'd be really happy with some treasure, but I don't think he cares much for the treasure, right?
I mean, we all care about some treasure. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I know. I'm just teasing.
But the story is equally as important.
So we have Gary calling out, and he comes over and shows Rick. He's like, Rick, you got to see this. Found more coal, more pottery. He explains that this is the kind of stuff that got Larry excited, like you said again. And that this stuff is from around the 1700s. Yeah. I can't say it like him.
I can't say it like him.
Yeah, but we have Clotworthy noting that this type of pottery is similar to what found in the money pit a few seasons ago. We just said this because literally I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. 1700s.
Gary says that he's got to keep an eye on the spoils pile over there, and because it's going to be getting interesting.
Yeah, he practically runs away. It's like, it's interesting. Because he's stoked.
Yeah, and while he's detecting again, he gets another hit, and it's like this weird metal thing. Like, but I don't even know what it is.
Or was there metal on it? But he leans down and picks it up, and, you know, we get a kind of a look at it, and it almost looks like scales, something very decorative.
Yeah, kind of scaly. Like, it looks like it has little sharp corners on it, you know?
And kind of metallic, and I'm thinking, to me, it doesn't really look like metal, but maybe there was metal in it. It could be a piece of jewelry. Who said that?
They said they definitely talk about brooches and brooches.
Yes, brooches and brooches. Looks almost like a mother of pearl to me, the sheen on it, but I mean, hopefully Kelly's on the island, right?
Let's get it to Kelly Barrasso. Let's get
it to Kelly to clean up.
Yeah. So Ian looks at it too, and he says it could be a piece of jewelry. Gary's the one that suggested it could be jewelry or broken, maybe a decorative brooch. Flashback to prior brooches found by Rick and Gary. That's when we get that from Clotworthy.
Bobby Dazzlers.
And and one of them is even gold plated. Wow. Ian lets the team know that what interests him and it's the flat areas of prime interest. And he says that nature just doesn't order itself in that way. Part of the area is very lumpy and digging can't continue at this point.
Yeah.
Billy recommends letting it dry out so he can come back and begin scooping again.
Yeah, it seemed like it was too lumpy going further east. That's why they kind of went more towards the west to make sure they got everything. But agreed that it was definitely, it's hard to dig further past the muck. Yeah, they've drained the swamp, but it was a swamp, right? You're going to take off the top layer and there's going to be moisture sitting in there. Let it dry out for a day. We come back. It's a good thing they had such a dry summer.
It is.
Or else, I mean, I'm sure it really aided in the digging. Yeah? See? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So then we cut away from the swamp for a little bit, but we do come back and Ian is directing Billy about like where to dig, right? And where the structure will end. Like that's what he wants to get to. And Jack notes that he sees some rock being revealed. Ian is kind of giddy at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little hard to get him excited too.
Yeah.
But...
Well, he's like, hey, let's put down some plywood. I want to get down there and take a closer look, right?
Yep.
And so, I mean, when you get these professional people so excited, that gets me excited. And it really does.
He literally jumps down there like a kid, like, woohoo! It's amazing.
It is.
It is.
Ian shows Rick that they've built the structure 3 stones thick. That's what they're learning here. And I mean, nobody's doubting that it was something man-made.
No.
You know? And also, like, I mean, what if they just dig the whole swamp up and it's like just a giant paved area? Like, I mean,
but we know it won't be because the way they did the side, they were actually sitting below the structure. And so you have this new paved area and they could, it's like they were digging a trench along the side of said road, right? So they could, this is like archaeology with a excavator scoop. It was really awesome that they didn't like actually tear up the paved area.
I know, it's just peculiar that like we get this big stone feature structure and then we have the paved area. Like, I mean, it's like,
it's crazy.
What's going on in the swamp?
And did they happen at different times?
They might I mean, like the upper part of the swamp was dated to the 1200s, right? Like that's just mind blowing. And then we had the southern portion of the swamp is now, at least 1700s. But I mean, that's just the stuff that's on top of it. Who knows how long it was there before that? So
I'm sure they're going to do more to further the dating, right? So we know we've at least hit the like early 1700s based off of the coring, like you were saying. And it actually makes me think of when Billy points it out that the paved area kind of towards the eye of the swamp up there was a lot of like large stones, and it looked like they had put down their paved area around some of those large features and didn't move them, versus this one, it's like nothing was there and it was just laid down, to be a road. You didn't have to avoid anything in the middle of it. Does that mean it's 2 different sets of people and with different building techniques? Or is it just because of what the island looked like at the time with those giant boulders? I don't know.
You ask a lot of deep questions.
I do. I like to dig deeper, if you will.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll know some of those answers by the end of the season. And hopefully maybe at the end of the season, we get Dr. Spooner on for a chat. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Oh, man. I'll be like, I'll never call you Swampelstiltskin ever again if you come hang out with us. But if you don't, then I'm going to just call you Swampelstiltskin. And he'll be like,
why does that matter to me?
So, yeah. Ian's giddy. He's like down in like a kid playing in his little mud pit and looking at these rocks. Clotworthy wonders if the stone feature they're looking at is connected to the stone paved stone area, like I'm thinking. I'm thinking the same thing as Slotworthy at that moment. Rick notes that this feature is certainly unique, very similar to the paved area, only flatter in his assessment, and that they're eerily strange and eerily similar.
Similar techniques, but like 3 layers thick. I mean, Spooner, he goes on to point out that this would, when they put this down, it wasn't swamp, right? Like they put it down either like on a solid surface. The area was clearly not what it was now, right? And he says that the only reason to do it the way that it looks right now, in his opinion, is because you would be working off of it onto something, and that's kind of why it would be so high.
So you pull
it'd
a
be
boat
like
up
a
next
platform,
to it?
yeah, like a boat or who knows what.
A treasure galleon, duh.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Definitely a treasure galleon.
Yeah. So then we have Billy, right? Billy notes that the difference between this and the paved area is that some big rocks that looked like people built them, built around, like there was some big rocks that people built around, but this is 100% built.
You mean like I just said?
You didn't say Billy said.
Yes, I did. Good thing this is recorded so you can go back and check that out. This is my life, guys. This is my life.
I specifically listened for the word Billy, and I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I presented it as Billy.
Okay. Well, I looked down at your notes in your hand, and I don't see Billy there at all. And I was maybe you've moved on.
Yeah, I did move on past that.
Yeah, Billy.
I'm
Billy's
sure
man.
they love hearing about this.
Hey, you get double the pleasure, double the fun,
double mint gum.
Yeah, double the Billy. Okay, there's never too much Billy.
There is never too much Billy. Matter of fact, I'd like to point out there's been 2 little Billy this year.
Yeah, where's Billy?
Well, we now know where he is. He's in the swamp.
He is. And he's still got some big things to find, apparently, if we think back to that drilling down episode at the beginning of the season. So we're watching you, Billy.
We're watching you. We're waiting for you.
All right. So Billy asks Ian, did you get that far?
No.
If there's any way that they can date the material on top of what has been built.
Well,
and that's where we already said a little bit of it, but Ian replied, the material on top can be dated to the 1700s.
Yeah.
And that's where Gary says 1700s, baby.
Yes. 1700s, baby. He's a big fan of that.
He is. All right, go ahead. You say something else, and I'm going to listen better this time. And we can test me on it. Go for it.
Test you? Is there a pop quiz?
Maybe there will be. Okay,
so we kind of get a commercial break, or I guess they end up going to the war room, and then we check back in with the swamp. Oh, we're going to do war room at the end. So swampy stuff. They come back, and there's a bunch of people out there kind of clearing trees, Rick and a couple other guys in the southeast corner of the swamp, cleaning things up so they can take a look around, make it a little easier. Gary and Jack, they dive into some metal detecting. Kind of near the stone pathway and back up towards the trees. Gary ends up telling Jack he's really excited to get in there now that they've kind of tossed some stuff around and shaking it up, right? Just like a storm.
Okay. Are we going to talk about how Laird and Aaron come in?
Yeah, isn't that in the second round?
But it's before they begin metal detecting.
Okay.
Yeah, so Laird Niven, Aaron Taylor, they arrived. They ask, hey, what is this structure?
And I'm thinking, you're archaeologists.
Yeah, you should be telling us. Yeah. And so Jack says that what they found was they've been calling the stone feature, but maybe it's like a road or a pier. Laird says that it looks like a roadway. So Laird does tell him what's up.
Thanks, Laird.
Thanks, Laird. Gary says that it's more impressive than the paved stone area because it's built better. Jack asks the archaeologists if it's pretty obvious that they have a structure here, and they both say yes, most definitely. So that's the moment it changed from a feature to a structure.
I find it interesting the Laird found it more, do you say important or more impressive because it was built better? And I'm thinking, that doesn't mean it's necessarily better. The other one's huge.
Well, And it was built like maybe even
It could have been
400,
older.
500 years before.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's impressive.
Just because you built it better doesn't mean it's whatever.
Yeah, but that was
Don't
Jack.
judge.
That was Jack saying that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the archaeologist.
Yeah.
They're probably more impressed with the other one, okay?
Don't be judgy. That is the moral of this podcast. Don't be judgy.
Okay, I'm going to tell you to go back and listen to that next time you're judging me on something. All right.
You know, the next time you're not listening, I'm just going to play this podcast back to you. So you'll probably hear it later today.
Huh? Not listening. What? Just kidding. All right. Laird says that where this hits the land is going to be pretty interesting,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there's an associated structure that they can't even see yet.
Exactly.
Jack told Laird and Aaron that Ian had taken samples from this area and it was known to date to the early 1700s. Jack was explaining that this that they were metal detecting because this might be a hauling area.
Mm-hmm.
Laird said, "Yeah, things get trapped in between those rocks." And I see Gary, and I think he has like a "be quiet, Jack" look on his face, like stop,
they're gonna
cut
make
it
us
out,
stop.
like don't tell them what we're doing, because literally they were metal detecting when they showed up, and then they suddenly weren't metal detecting in that area anymore. I'm just saying, like they were metal detecting outside of the pit that they had dug.
Well, I think, but then as they're talking to Aaron and Laird, it seems like they're like, yeah, look for things, like keep going. Because even Aaron points out that since it's an anaerobic environment that they would be finding these artifacts in, you know, it's going to be really well preserved. And
sure.
that makes Jack excited.
Makes me excited.
Jack's always excited, but he was like jumping jacks.
Yep. So, Jack's like, yeah, it could be in pristine condition. And Laird and Aaron, they skipped away.
They pieced out and said, keep in touch. And I'm thinking, that's like something you write in a yearbook. Keep in touch. Maybe he has a walkie on him.
No, I think he's just like, we're watching you.
I'm watching what you're doing. Anyway, so they actually get to work.
Yeah, away from the stone feature, the stone structure now. It's now structure. All right, and so Gary gets a hit with the metal detector. Jack digs and is shocked by what he dug up. Like he jumped. He jumped backwards. He's like, look at that. Oh my gosh.
The shovel in the ground and practically jumped. It's like when Craig was standing next to Rick when he took that giant chug of brackish water from the swamp.
Ew.
He like jumped out of the scene. This was Jack's jump moment.
It was. Like he was shocked. And then they pulled it up and it's like, wow, we can see a lot on this coin. It's so beautiful. And Gary's like, oh, it's British. And then they're like, oh, it's 1919. It's not part of no treasure buried here.
And that's
wah.
I mean,
but
it's still cool.
Really
it's just like it doesn't help them for what they're looking for.
Yeah. So they continue detecting. They're, putting the metal detector back and forth, gets another hit. Jack, it's your time.
It's go
Jack
time.
6000. Start
Jack
digging.
6000.
All right. So he digs. He has high hopes for this one. They found something that Gary said, oh, it's a pin. Gary notes that it looked like a specialty tool. And he also noted the hole and how it was punched out through the top of it. And Jack says, I know what that is. It's something that Deidre talks about all the time, weirdly. Like,
what do you mean I talk about it all the time?
Plumb bobs more than anybody I've ever.
Wait, I've what?
You've put the words together, plum and bob, more than anyone I've ever heard in my life.
Really? Because I don't even own a plumb bob.
Okay, but there was one in Fandango, and you would talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
and that's like literally the most I've ever heard anybody talk about it. So it's literally you're the.
I think you need to have more plumb bob conversations than if I'm the one talking about them the most, and I feel like I don't really.
Like I knew what it was, and I just didn't like. I didn't grab onto it as much as you did in that treasure hunt Fandango.
I guess, but I was also the one that went to the island and.
Not Oak Island.
No.
Mount Desert
Island.
Okay, so they found a plumb bob. Gary's like, you know what, mate? I think you're right.
Okay, they think they found a plumb bob. This has not been confirmed or denied yet.
Jack says that you have found that you'd have you'd have something like that if you were digging shafts. Oh my gosh, I can't read my own notes. And Garrett says easily 16 or 1700s.
Easily.
Clotworthy gives a history of plumb bobs.
Thank you, Clotworthy.
Yeah, thanks, Clotworthy. That was
so great. I bet you Clotworthy's beat me in plumb bobness now.
Yeah, he knows all about the plumb bobs. This conversation right now we're having is most I've ever said plumb bobs out loud. All right, so Gary says, hey, we should take this Carmen leg and get his opinion on it. And they call Rick to take a look. Rick agrees that it would make a perfect plumb bob. Gary says that they might find a shaft or a tunnel in the area. Look at this. We're finding tools that could have been used for that purpose. Why not?
Why not?
Rick agrees to have it taken to Carmen Leg. He wants him to render an opinion on it.
Yep,
and we even got that in there. Like Rick said, render an opinion.
Yeah. And he wants
like
Carmen to do it.
All right. Gary says that whatever it is bloody old. Yeah. And Rick sends them back to find more artifacts. Again, he's being another Marty. Hey guys, let's talk in more metal detecting.
Right? I wonder if Marty's like not on the island right then, so he's like, I gotta channel some of my brother.
Or I wonder if Marty, like, what if when he watched this, or maybe he was there on the day and he walks by, he's like, geez, man, what did I do to this guy?
What did I do to this guy?
I need to lighten up on these people. Well, Rick's a taskmaster now.
Well, like
cracking the whip.
Marty's been very lighthearted this year. Like after he came,
he called us. I mean,
that's saying something. Like he spent a lot of time in quarantine, and I feel like it broke him just a little in the best way possible. He was excited to get out. I don't think that's a guy you can like contain.
I'm glad that Marty wasn't in quarantine, like sitting in a corner, kind of like,
oh man,
rocking back and forth with his eyes closed. Work's not getting done. Work's not getting done. You know, that's how like the way that he like wants everybody to be working hard all the time. You know, that's the way like it hurts him.
Yeah,
deeply. When
instead, he's got like a bicycle trainer and he's chopping wood, and I'm like, dang, ain't keeping that guy down.
All right. Can we go to the war room?
Yes, it's the room of war, and we should start there.
All right. Rick says every time they meet in the war room, it's important.
Of course.
I have to agree.
They don't just go there for no reason.
Yeah, so we got Rick, Scott, Miriam, the new archaeologist gal, Laird, Aaron Taylor, and then we had Doug Kroll presenting a theory about the Serpent Mound, and Alex Lagina, Craig Tester were teleconferenced in.
Correct.
All right, so there's a presentation about the Serpent Mound found on Lot 15. Rick said that Doug has some amazing research, and he remains skeptical because Serpent Mounds are ancient. So, like, is this one? Jury's still out.
Yeah,
but Doug makes some really good points and makes some good comparisons. So it's worth listening to what he's got to say because, hey, he's like Mr. Researcher extraordinaire, Doug Kroll.
Well, and that's just that why wouldn't we research it if it's there?
Yeah.
Right? You aren't going to just ignore it. Anything on Oak Island could potentially turn into something. The paved stone area was found in season 1
by Tony. And Tony came back like 7 seasons later, and he's like, "Hey, I found it again."
Exactly. And it just goes to show, keeping an open mind and following up on these things is important.
For sure.
Doug notes that it's like any curiosity on the island.
This one just kind of surprised them this year because it's something that's been there. They've always probably walked over it, whatever. It's just he took a closer look at it because of all the things going on Lot 15, like the pine tar kiln, and this possible oxen trail that's in there, and then we've got the road possibly leading from the swamp up there. I mean, a lot's pointing to this area, right? And so he said it doesn't look natural, and so he took a closer look at it. Makes sense. So we did get a flashback to 2 weeks ago checking out the mound. Doug said that any curiosity on the island is something they need to scrutinize to see if it's part of the hunt or not. Makes sense.
Just like we were saying. So as we were going Serpent Mounds, Doug's looking into the symbolism and the different ones from the area. and gets into his presentation,
Mm-hmm.
shares his screen. He asks if it's okay. And I'm thinking, Doug, you got the floor, man. Go for it. No need to ask permission. And he shows that this is a picture of what he sees when looking at the mound, and that it's shaped like a Y, and like you had said, kind of like a little Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And
well, because it's the Serpent Mound,
mm-hmm.
but then there's like a separate mound next to it, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the one that's kind of like the way that it looked on his presentation looked kind of like Pac-Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had noted, weren't Steve and Laird going to be doing a 3D rendering of the mounds? Like when they first talked about it, Laird had mentioned, Steve should do that. And they're like, yeah. And then Laird said, you can move it around and take a look at it. But that didn't look like a 3D rendering to me.
Well, maybe Steve was just busy and hadn't got to it yet.
I know. I'm just saying, I would like to see the 3D rendering. I bet it's pretty sweet if they were going to do it. And maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't do it. Maybe something else happened.
Could be. Could it be?
Maybe.
Okay, so yeah. Doug shows them on an upside down map, like of Oak Island, where this feature lies. Mm-hmm. And that probably screws with a lot of people looking at it on TV because they're not used to seeing south is north for Oak Island. South is up.
We're like, wait. I thought this was on lot. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just where it was on lot 15. He says that it's just about the highest part of Oak Island in elevation, mm-hmm. and very near to the east side of the swamp. Doug shows a slide with an overhead view of the. Can you pronounce that?
No.
Otonabee. I'm going to go with Otonabee Serpent Mound in Canada, in Ontario. It's 189 feet long and 4 to 5 feet high. And he showed like a similar thing of how it looks from above. And it looks like a jagged lowercase letter I.
Yeah.
Right. And it overlooks Rice Lake in Ontario. Okay. So Doug says that the mound on Oak Island is about 4 feet high and roughly 134 feet long. So it tracks.
The realm. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, it tracks. Doug highlights the cairns around the Serpent Mound in Ontario, and there seems to be 5 little hills or mounds around it. And that's like what we're talking about. The Pac-Man thing on Oak Island would be a cairn.
No, really?
Yeah.
Because cairns are usually much smaller.
Cairn?
No, it's cairns.
Yeah.
There's mounds, right? Mm-hmm. There's mounds around it, but cairns, at least in my mind, are always like they're the smaller rock formations or rock stacks that show you like which way to go on a trail. Do you go left, right, continue on the path? So I was seeing.
So what did you think all those little mounds were around those other ones?
I thought those were just mounds, and then there was also the cairns around it, and saw those as different things. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to look into it though.
Sure,
because that's not how I interpreted the one on Oak Island.
It's okay. You've been wrong before. It's fine.
Not really. But when I was looking at the map that Doug showed of the Oak Island potential Serpent Mound, I saw the hill, the serpent, and then the cairns. But I thought the cairns were.
I thought what they had described as cairns were kind of rocky with stone features in close proximity. That's what I thought they were like rocky mounds, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean, you could have a cairn that is just that there's something carved into a rock feature, but people stack rocks in a certain way to tell you which way the path on like a hiking trail is so that you stay on it. But of course people build them, they don't know what they mean, and then they leave them there, which is don't do that, because then hikers get lost because they think they're following a path, but you just want it for your Instagram picture. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Sorry, my Instagram picture tangent is so. But I was just thinking, I don't remember them mentioning cairns on Oak Island before in anything else. So
When I typed in Karn, that's what came up. It looks like what Deidre talking about. So I guess she's right again.
But, you know, who knows?
Here's another little stack of rocks. I mean, I suppose we'll take your word for it.
I don't know. That's why I'm wondering. And did the Karns come
There's
later?
A Karn Terrier. Oh, wait. Wrong thing, huh?
I don't think there's like 3 of those dogs just hanging out by the mound.
That's an impressive one, huh?
That is.
All right. So anyway, back to Doug's theory and story.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he noted that all the confirmed serpent mounds all featured the stone and soil construction. They were an average of 4 feet high, located on prominent hillsides overlooking water, nearby individual cairns or mounds, and they were that we all have of that in this. Oh, they have all of that with the structure they found on lot 15. Man, I'm having trouble reading my notes today. Whether it's an actual mound or not, those elements are present. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's great. These elements are in all these other serpent sites. Yeah, serpent sites, I guess that's a thing. And it's in ours, potentially.
Sure. Yep. So Rick was impressed by what these mounds across the globe had rock cairns or other stone features in close proximity to them. And if this was a serpent mound, then they too had those features close proximity. So to him, that was impactful. His words. Then Doug pulls out a scroll, big old giant scroll that Deidre's like, "Oh my gosh, I want one."
I want one. That was awesome, and it had like this beautiful flow chart of the different religions and types of. Oh man,
they'd have to make a new one these days. This is from 1885.
Well, I just want to see the old one. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, so this document was or I don't know if the actual thing was 1885, but like that's where the information came from.
Yeah.
It all shows the major religions of the world and when they came into being, right? He noted that even before that there were sun worshippers or Christianity, there was serpent worship around the world. And he shows that in 3000 BC there was serpent worshiping going on. And that was the predominant religion in the world.
Well,
crazy.
We know, is it the Aztec pyramid where you know the once a year where, and as the sun sets, it creates this serpent shadow on the edge of the step pyramid.
I can't remember the name of that place, but
but that would be amazing to see.
It would be. That's only on the equinox or whatever. So also, like, you remember on Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates went to do the Serpent Kings episode where they're looking for the Serpent Kings. It's like this lost civilization in Mexico, and they still like I think they found something, but they weren't sure. But anywho, like those people worship serpents obviously as well. Like
it was part of their
So I mean, Doug, great job. He goes on to show them that the seal of one of the Knights Templar Grand Masters from the 12th century, it showed Abraxas, whom is a composite god shown to have the head of a rooster, the body of a man, and the legs of a serpent. The Gnostics identified Abraxas with Yahweh.
Yes.
God, right? Doug noted that the ancient gemstones had this image engraved on them, and that it was said that there were a lot of these gemstones in the Templar treasuries. So they had a lot of these gods that had chicken heads, human bodies, and serpent legs on them in the treasury, I guess.
Yeah, it was something I thought. So right after this episode aired, I have a thing for old books. I found this handy dandy one.
Ooh, what's that?
So this one is called...
You just had this book laying around?
I had this over here. I found it when I was digging through books. And it says Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And I was like, this old school thing was pretty cool. And it had all the different degrees like broken up. And Doug goes to talk about like the 25th. And it being the Night of the Brazen Serpent.
Wow, look at that. She could just pull that right out.
Well, there it is. And I started reading, and it was quite fascinating. And all the different, because we also did a lot of research about ancient Egypt and about the different gods and stuff that were in there. And I'm reading through, and they're referencing all that ancient stuff. And then I got reading, I was like, whoa, this is deep. I should start at the beginning. But I thought that was very coincidental. And I had a whole breakdown about the 25th degree. It's a really interesting book. I'm gonna do some reading.
How old is that book? It's pretty old.
Yeah. This one
1891.
No, that's the Grandmaster, which was
1962.
Yeah, so this one, it says Washington, D.C., 1962. So, gotcha. I mean, this one's from the 60s, but...
Pretty cool book, babe. Good find there. All right, so, anywho, Craig is looking at this presentation and just says, it's a massive site. Something was going on.
Yes.
Doug says that they've dubbed the area the Serpent Mound, but that's yet to be proven.
Yes. But for now, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I got a whole bunch of stuff about what you just talked about. That serpent in the
25th degree.
The 25th degree, yeah. The serpent and cross, the symbol used in the degrees of Knights Templar and the Knight of the Brazen Serpent. The cross is a Tau cross T, and the serpent is twined around it. Doug says that this is an important part of the following Masonic symbolism. Like you said, again, the 25th degree, this is one of the rites of the Masons, the serpent and the cross. Rick says, wow.
And he was already very skeptical coming in, but I think he's very impressed with the information, at least, that's been provided.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on, but that's good stuff. I enjoyed Doug's presentation. Whether it's right or not, that remains to be seen. But impressive.
It is impressive.
And it really looks like the other stuff they found, like in Ontario, like those other things that would be confirmed Serpent Mounds. I mean, this looks a lot like them.
And even if it doesn't turn out to be a Serpent Mound, it's probably something. I mean, Tom has confirmed it wasn't his dad's work or anything like that. And then, speaking of the next war room, we get some information about the Serpent Mound when they were excavating, right?
We do.
So we get into the war room, and we have Marty, Rick, Doug, Miriam, Jack, and then on video we have Craig, Alex, and Aaron.
Yeah.
And Craig has some info on the Serpent Mounds.
He's got that little smirk on his face. Like, you could tell he's got big news, and he's like,
he loves delivering dates from stuff like this.
No, he's the real data guy. So, yeah. All right. Craig explains that they've got dates back from the charcoal from the Serpent Mound area. Okay. Doug says it has a sample, and he says it's the one with the nail found with the charcoal. And Craig says that's the one. Artifact number 203. All right, cool. But like, I want to know more about this nail.
Yeah, because it wasn't mentioned before, and they kept it together. I'm assuming it came out of the same test pit.
Yeah.
And maybe they haven't got info on the nail yet.
Yeah, I want to know more about the nail, but maybe I should just appreciate the info we got.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. But
so Craig, with that little smirk on his face, that little sly smile, ready to tell him the groundbreaking news. He's like, okay, guys, listen to this. 1320 to 1440 AD.
And everybody is shocked.
Yeah, everyone appears gobsmacked.
Jack looks so excited. He was like double gobsmacked.
Yeah, you could hear Aaron Taylor saying, no, that's not right. That can't be it.
Oh, right. He's like trying to be a voice of reason. Like, okay, no way.
Yeah, Marty says, no brackets? Like, it's that's the range. And, they didn't reply to that. So I'm taking it as that's the range. Doug says that there's one date that matches. What is it?
Xena's map.
That's what Rick says. Yep. And Jack says, hey, it might be Knights Templar. Like, of course, that's right where Jack goes.
He wants it to be.
That's what we all want it to be.
And Doug asks Aaron what he thinks about that. And Aaron seems, shocked. And just really, if this does come back to be true, it puts history on its head. The only people they knew that were here prior to 1496 were the Vikings. And then you find a European object dating back potentially to this date.
No, if you can.
Yeah, if you can. Because they're also talking about the pine tar kiln. And then if we associate those together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like the first European to step foot on like Nova Scotia would have been John Cabot, the explorer. And I was like thinking 1496 or 1497.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that's probably what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, literally it would change the history of the world. And it's crazy. It's awesome.
Marty, if these dates are real and it ties to a Templar influence, holy smokes. And Craig, and like Marty says, if the dates are real, and Craig says, with this being such a outlier and kind of being such a crazy thing, they are going to be taking extra steps to make sure it is indeed good data.
Yeah.
So I think they're having it tested by someone else as well, is what it sounded like, which is greatly appreciated because, Aaron's shocked, Craig is shocked, everybody's shocked, and it makes sense. Get a second opinion.
Yeah. Well, Aaron says if the dates are correct, then it's one of the most important features in North America and changes everything, and he doesn't use that term lightly.
Mm-mm.
So pretty impressive and important stuff going on in the Serpent Mound, so-called Serpent Mound.
Exactly. I'm very interested to hear back what other dates we get with charcoal from like the pine tar kiln, and we just got charcoal over in the swamp.
There's always a possibility they got some of those dates back already. This was taken after that, so and they just weren't that impressive.
It's possible. But it's also possible,
if they got dates back and it's like, oh, this happened in 1952, they're like, let's just not tell them that.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's also, you can only digest so much information within one episode in so many areas. Like they didn't go back to talking about the pine tar kiln, so they're not going to bring up more about those dates just yet. We've been harping on the Serpent Mound. It's a good time to deliver those dates.
Yep. So Rick goes on to say that if this is correct, then this makes the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, not the how, just the W's, it makes them more interesting and complex.
Yeah.
And
then, it does.
Marty says that they're getting this data, and it keeps pushing the dates back and back, and it makes the whole island more significant. And to avoid an analysis paralysis at this point, let's get back to work. Okay, that sounds more like Marty.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Marty's
Rick didn't say it at that point, though.
Right?
Yeah. So I guess that's the episode.
That was the episode. We didn't really get a next week on. We got a little bit of a preview.
Yeah, so there's that new show that replaced the...
Beyond Oak Island was on before it, and then...
Yeah, Beyond Oak Island, because that season's over now.
Yes.
We'll have to wait till next year to get season 2 of Beyond Oak Island, apparently. But, yeah, I don't remember what it's called, to be honest. Something
I can't remember either.
It was like a Factor faked or something.
Yeah.
I watched part of it. It was fun. There was some sort of preview of the Curse of Oak Island about 20 minutes into it. And I forgot to write down the details, so my bad.
It wasn't a very detailed.
No, there was another one.
Oh, there was?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I definitely missed that.
Yeah. But it's all right, because literally we're recording this today, Monday. We'll know tomorrow, Tuesday, when the Curse of Oak Island season 8, episode 10 airs in the United States. We will know that tomorrow.
We will.
So that's something.
All right. What do we got next?
All right. So I don't know. I'm just I'm really excited that was a fun episode.
It was.
And I'm still kind of like, I don't know.
Wrapping your head around it?
Well, no, just like basking in the glow of Marty Lagina giving us a phone call.
Oh my gosh. I can't get over
like Marty Lagina. He's like the guy with the money. You know, like he's the head honcho.
He's
over
the
there.
one that gave Billy the wallet.
Yeah, he's like, Billy, here's my wallet. He called us and he approves. He thinks that he saw this of himself and he's like, you know what? That's really cool.
I can't believe it. It happened.
Approved.
I would have never thought that. Oh my gosh.
It's approved by Marty. If you don't have any of these trading cards and you want some, there's a way you can do it. Come play Oak Island Trivia with us. We do it every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Except for not today. Today it's Monday, but we're gonna be recording or going live for our Oak Island Trivia tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And
we're doing it as part of what we normally do for pregame. As you guys know, we kind of fell behind with all the crazy and we're catching back up. This is helping us do that.
Yeah, so like if you wanted to come play Oak Island Trivia, if you're watching, I'm sorry for podcast listeners, but you can win something like this. This is an Oak Island ornament made by our friend Amy S. From Ohio, and she made these Oak Island ornaments with spoils in them from borehole H9.5. She sent us a bunch of them, and you could win one as a prize if you win Oak Island Trivia. Other things you can win are like the aforementioned Oak Island trading cards. And then we have other big prizes like these books. We have The Curse of Oak Island by Randall Sullivan, if you do not already have it. And then we also have Annie Goes to Oak Island. It's a children's book by Cindy Bussey, one of our listeners and friends of the podcast. And, we have a lot of other prizes that we can give away too. But if you're interested in playing, come join us, usually on Mondays, but this week, Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Oak Island Podcast. Boom.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah. So
other thing, Clotworthies. So here's the thing. We dropped the ball last week.
We missed Clotworthy last week. Oops. Do we have a winner from the week before?
We're just starting fresh.
Oh, okay.
This is what we're doing. We're starting fresh right now with 2 new Clotworthy moments from this week's episode. I'm going to play them and you're going to get it posted for
ASAP.
people to vote on. So they can do it over in our Facebook group. Could it be an Oak Island group? Or they can also vote on Twitter.
Okay.
So
sounds like a plan.
First,
and you would find us on Twitter at Oak Island Pod.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. First Clotworthy moment.
Piled stones, 3 layers thick, forming a pathway or platform on the bottom of the swamp.
Whoa.
Could it be?
Man, see, that's the stuff I live for right there. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, I know, right?
That's a great Clotworthy moment. That was a lot of fun.
I completely concur. Would you like to see who it's competing against?
All right, so how did it start with? Something about stones? Stacked stones?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pile of stones.
Yeah.
Pile of stones. It was a pile.
All right, that's good stuff. All right, let's listen to what the stones are up against.
Charcoal, found within the serpent-shaped feature on lot 15, dating back as early as the 14th century.
Charcoal.
We got charcoal or stones.
Cool. Well, you know what to do. Go to our Facebook group. Go to facebook.com/Oak Island Podcast. Find our Facebook group. Join it. Vote. Or go to Twitter at Oak Island Pod. Find us there and vote. We'll put that up to vote tonight.
You can, we talked about voicemails. We want to hear your voicemails. So you can give us a call. The phone number is 360-836-4549.
If you want to be like Marty Lagina, and who doesn't, you'll give us a call and we can play like maybe on our next podcast. So
do it.
Yeah, do it, peeps.
It'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. You can also email us, OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com.
Correct.
Yeah, we actually had an email. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Stall for me.
Well, I was also going to let them know that we're on Instagram at Oak Island Podcast. We already let you know that we're on Twitter and how to find us on Facebook. And, did you have an email?
I did.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Sure.
So this is from our listener, Cindy T. It says, love your podcast. I have binged all the previous posts and she's now about to catch up to the current ones. You guys are funny and insightful. Deidre, happy belated birthday from one Christmas girl to another.
Yeah.
Another place to watch past Oak Island episodes is on the History Channel app. Wishing you and your family a happy and healthy 2021. And then it says hashtag Team Billy.
Yeah.
So this person must be way back because we haven't really talked about hashtag Team Billy in like 2 years. So this person went through all of our stuff and listened to every one of them.
Well, thank you.
So Cindy,
I can't believe
you're
they
awesome.
called us insightful.
Hey, you are.
Well,
I'm
occasionally.
just here.
Occasionally. And hashtag Team Billy.
Hashtag Team Billy. All right. So Cindy, you're awesome. Thanks for taking time to write us. So if you want to, write us a nice little note like that as well, do it. OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com. The last thing is, do you have anything else?
I don't.
All right. So you can, if you really truly love us and want to support us, you could go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast and be a supporter of us through Patreon. And that requires you to spend a little money on us. But hey, we give you so much for free. We're worth $1 or $2 a month, right?
Yes, and it does allow us to, pay for the shipping and the prizes that we send out.
Yep. It's not required,
and the cost.
But it's not required whatsoever. But we appreciate it because, like podcasts are expensive.
They are.
Like
to maintain.
Yeah, like there was a bulk cost up front, buying all the equipment and stuff. But now we do the Oak Island trivia thing where we send out all these fabulous prizes, and books aren't cheap to ship, right? Well, some are, but like we love our Australian listeners, but when we shipped some stuff to Australia, man, it costs some money.
It does.
But hey, we're happy to do it. We love
we'll
Claire and Chris,
anywhere.
right?
Yes. And any others from Australia
and beyond, like
and beyond.
The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond podcast, right?
Right.
They're our new friends.
That's right.
So,
and beyond.
You guys should go check them out because why not give them a little plug, right?
Yeah, why not?
You become good buddies with them, and so that's Facebook.
It's a group. It's called The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond, and they do a weekly recap as well.
And they've been doing some interviews and stuff.
Yeah,
they just had Dutch and Cornwall on.
Yes.
So sweet stuff.
Yep.
Keep up the good work, guys, and we'll try to keep up the good work here. Anything else we have going on?
I don't think so. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and
until next time.
Could it be?